Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannon's Insurance and National Parts Depot. G'day and welcome to another exciting episode of Classic Restos. Of course, not possible without the continued support of my major sponsors, Shannon's Insurance and National Parts Depot, based in the United States of America. When you get a moment, why not pick up the phone and give Shannon's a call for a quote on 134646. Not only a quote, but they can offer you just so much more. Visit Shannon's online as well at shannons.com.au, and whilst you're there you can sign up and become a member of the Shannon's Club. When it comes time for parts, your American classic car, why not try National Parts Depot? They're based in the United States of America and have 3 million parts for you to choose from. And they ship to Australia and New Zealand every day. Find out more information and see what stock they have when you visit www.npdlink.com. And on today's show, this is day 2 of the largest Mopar event in the world, the 2013 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals. Now, on last week's episode, you were served an entree with plenty of sides, and day 2 is even stronger. Last week hosted Sonny Schreiner, Enos, from TV series Dukes of Hazzard. I went into the Mopar Survivors tent and caught up with 2 brand new cars that were just very old. Dick showed us his incredible 1968 426 Hemi Charger. I caught up with Mopar's homegrown Mr. Norm with all of his exuberance. And there are a string of other interviews from victims that succumbed to the Fletch. So now, it's time for more Mopars from the little TV show that offers you more punch than you'll find at a pensioner's party as the 2013 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals shifts into top on Classic Restos. And our first interview today, we have Miss Mopar. We have Michaela. How are you, Michaela?
I'm doing very well, Fletch. How are you today?
Wonderfully well, thank you very much. Good to catch up with you. You've got a bit of celebrity status going on, haven't you?
It seems that way. I'm totally humbled by all of this. It's been a crazy 48 hours, and it's getting crazier, and I couldn't be more excited about it. Would I call myself a celebrity? I'm still waiting on Mopar to make me the official Miss Mopar, but hopefully we could put a bug in their ear.
The car behind us now, your input there, what have you done here?
This is my 72 Dodge Charger. I bought it about 2.5 years ago, and it was out of a barn. It didn't have a title. It came with a salvage title, as the gentleman who I bought it from bought it off of a sheriff's sale because the gentleman who owned it passed away. He didn't have any kin. They couldn't find a title. So when I brought it home, it had 2 dead cats in it. It had greenery growing out of the manifold. I found like 62 cents. Not the fortune I was hoping for.
So you're almost $1 up on the deal.
Almost. Halfway there, a little over. But so we put it on a trailer, loaded it off in my backyard, and I looked at it and I thought, oh my Lord, I just spent my whole life savings on this car. So I looked up over my mom if she was standing next to me, and she said, well, she went in the house and came out with a bucket of water and 2 magic erasers, and we just got to scrubbing, and we learned a lot of things about the car. The transmission was frozen, which we assume is why someone parked it in the barn when they did, in 1989, which is the year I was born, so I had a little bit of sentimental value to it. So we decided to tear the drivetrain. We rebuilt the engine, the transmission, and the night that we finished rebuilding the engine, everything was back in there, tightened the hose clamps for the last time, made sure everything was perfect. My mama called us in to dinner, and we lost her the next morning to an undetected brain aneurysm. So the car sat in my driveway for about a month and a half, and we went out there. It was cold, it was dreary, it was rainy, kind of like today, and we fired it up, and it was the first time I'd smiled since I lost her. So I consider her my shotgun angel. So she didn't know a dang thing about Mopars, but everything I do with this car, I do in memory of her.
That's just so nice, isn't it? I mean, our cars mean a lot to us, but when there's that personal connection with with a mother, a father, a auntie, an uncle, it just means so much more. Michaela, thanks for having a talk with me today. It's a pleasure having you on Classic Restos here in Carlisle for the Chrysler Nationals, and yeah, what do I say? Take care of this Charger.
Thank you, Fletch. It was a pleasure finally meeting you. I really appreciate all your interaction on my Facebook page.
Where else can you go but the Chrysler Nationals here at Carlisle, and GM and Ford here as well, where you'll find an original dealership, and they deck it out to put all these special vehicles in. Now, in this case here with Chrysler, this is the high performance division for the weekend. We have Whit now. How you doing, Whit?
Yeah, thank you, Fletch.
Yeah, you going good?
We're doing great.
You would be. Look at this car. You know, it's hard to put words to. This is goosebump stuff, this is, because when we talk drag racing, this is where the sedan cars really, really took a hold, didn't they?
Chrysler put together a team of engineers in early '62 to come up with a package that would not only compete but win. And they developed this 413 Max Wedge engine that was specifically built up as a drag racing engine. To give you some idea of the development, they went through 50 iterations of the intake manifold just to get the right combination.
Whit, tell us, what condition was the car in when you found it?
The car was initially restored back in the mid-1990s by a Mopar enthusiast from Wisconsin. He found this car in a wrecking yard in Billings, Montana. In fact, in the history book, we have the complete provenance that takes this car right back to Don Long as he raced in 1962 at Deer Park Raceway in Spokane, Washington.
Whit, I've got to make a comment on the interior. I just love the colour combination. It even smells like a brand new car. You open the door, you should smell this thing. It's like as though it's just come away out of the dealership, which is so appropriate today because we are in a makeshift dealership, so it's just so nice.
It is. I mean, to be right next to the windows with all the graphics on, we couldn't ask for anything better.
You just don't...
I think they knew what this car was because this spot was reserved for it.
That's true too. It's stuff that you just don't see every day. Whit, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Not that it's be all end all, but just to give you an idea how good this 62 Sport Fury is, when it's judged, it always romps in as a 100-point car. I hope you're really enjoying these episodes. The 2013 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals here in Pennsylvania, United States of America. Thanks, of course, to my major sponsors, Shannon's Insurance. Visit Shannon's online at shannons.com.au and National Parts Depot at www.npdlink.com. Back with more after this. I have the advantage now of catching up with Mike Buckle, one of the Ram Chargers. Now, what I've done, I've asked Mike to choose a car which means something to him, that reminds him of the early 60s when he used to race and do very, very well for himself. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, Fletch.
That's good. Having a good time?
We're having a great time.
That's great. Now, you've chosen this 64 Dodge. Why?
Well, the 64 was a good year. It was the first of the Hemis, but it was the last of the Wedges. And they were fast. They won a lot of races. We won a lot of races in our 64 Dodge. So 64 Dodges are good years.
These engines just before the 426 Hemi, it's quite amazing, isn't it, that the 426 in this style, they kept the same displacement for the Hemi, so at least the size was right.
Yeah, it was. Well, the Hemi was built on a raised block, so the block could go through the same machining process as the Wedge. But the heads, of course, were altogether different, and that meant the intake manifold was different. But the stage 4 Max Wedge was no slouch. It was basically a 126 mile an hour car.
Wedge-wise versus Hemi in terms of rev range, Mike, like what sort of revs would you get out of the Wedge as opposed to the Hemi?
Well, we normally shifted the Wedges at about 6,500. And then as we got better and better with the Hemi, we were shifting them at a little over 7,000, and the car went faster. And that's what's important, is the car goes faster.
This car here, it's absolutely beautiful. What's your opinion on the way that it's finished, the interior?
Oh, this is a beautiful car. 64 was the first car that Elwood Ingalls styled after Virgil Exner was canned, because the cars got pretty ugly by 62, and Exner was canned. They hired Elwood Ingalls, so this is really his first car, and it's a respectable looking car. And this one here is just perfect, much better than they were when they were new.
Mike, it's been wonderful catching up with you again. First had the liberty of meeting this guy at Chrysler's on the Murray. the Australian Chrysler event, the largest outdoor Mopar show in Australia, and that was this year, 2013. Got to meet Mike. Good to see you again, Mike.
Hey, it's great, Fletch.
As soon as I walked through the door of Building T, I looked left, saw this red Barracuda, this gorgeous 69 car. Beautiful car, Steve.
Thank you very much. A lot of hard work, a lot of time went into this car, but I'm very proud of it.
How was it when you got it?
It was nothing right home to mom about, but it was a solid car. It was a rust-free car, and it was all together. It was all here. All the parts were here to rebuild it.
Well, Steve, you know, the thing is, like, we could expect to see anything from a slant 6, a 318, a 340, but a 383 car. Very, well, getting pretty rare these days now.
Yes, they are. The H-code Barracudas, they started them in 67, 8, and 9. Very rare. They made under 1,000 every year, production date.
I mean, being 383s in A-bodies, they would have been cut up years ago as drag cars. They would have been sought after for the quarter mile.
Yes, they were. They were very popular, being drag raced, and that's why it's hard to find a good candidate out there anymore to restore.
Steve, I think it's pretty safe to say in this case that you've gone beyond and above what left the factory.
Yes, I have. It took a lot of time. There's a lot of man hours in this car here, but it's something I enjoy and something I love doing.
Steve, what's the color?
The color is called Crimson Red, and it's supposedly by numbers. It's a very rare red on red. A lot of them were red on black, red on white, but this is a red on red.
The interior is absolutely sensational. It's just as good inside as it is out.
Yes, it is. And believe it or not, the seat covers on this car, these seat covers, I didn't redo them. They were redone back in 2001. And when I redid the car, the seat covers were so nice, I just left them the way they were. But the rest of the interior I did redo.
Yeah, that's great. Look, it's a sensational looking car. Again, with that 383, must be good under the right foot.
Yes, it is. I'll tell you, if anybody that owns an A-body that never drove one with a 383 in, believe me, it's a thrill and it's just a blast to drive. I've owned some 340 cars, but until you drive a 383 in a little A-body, you better hang on if you're going to put your foot to the metal on it.
I can relate to that. When you've got some big power going on in a relatively light car, yeah, you got to be careful.
Yes, you do. You got to be very careful. And actually, the car brakes very good. Has 11-inch brakes all the way around, and believe it or not, for drum brakes, it stops good, and it does steer nice too.
Good on you, Steve. Good to catch up, mate.
Thank you much. I appreciate it.
Moving through the 2013 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals, it's always interesting to hear through the eyes of the vendors what they think of the event. Herbie, how you doing?
How you doing, Fletch?
Good, mate. Good. Are you enjoying yourself?
Oh yeah, it's a blast. Have had great weather. It's been great.
That's great. Now look, you're the son of Herb, or here in this case, Herb's Parts. How many years have you been coming here?
I've been coming here since I've been 5. So, a long time, and I'm 20 now, so 15 years.
So your dad was coming way before then, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. So, when it first started, so in the 80s.
It's amazing to see how many parts are actually available, in this case, for Chryslers.
Oh, yes. All body styles. They're coming out with all parts. Yep.
Chrysler made the lease models compared to Ford and GM, but there's such a following. Do you find that when you go to these car shows that the fraternity is just so huge?
Yeah, it's kind of like a brotherhood, you know. We're all friends, we're all brothers, you know. We all have a common goal, and we share a common hobby, and that's with Mopars. And it's different than Ford and Chevrolet. We're unique.
So, Herbie, your thoughts on Carlisle events, what does it mean to you personally?
Oh, Carlisle's our biggest show of the year, and it's great to come here as long as it's good weather. Even if it's not good weather, it's still a pleasure to be here.
Herbie, what is it with guys and parts? I mean, it's kind of like a kid in a candy store, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You see them out on the tables here, and you just go crazy. You find what you want and all the beautifulness of the product, and it is like a kid in a candy store.
Do you find it's like, to the guys, it's a retail therapy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a get away from home, get away from work, you know, relieve all your stress and just have fun.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, sometimes the wives and partners might not find parts that interesting, but guys into cars, you can just browse, just walk up and down the roads, and sometimes maybe not even buy anything, but it's just entertainment.
Oh yes it is. Yes it is, for sure.
Well, too bad your dad's not here because Herb's a legend within himself, but good to catch up with the second series coming through.
Yeah, thank you, Fletch.
Thanks, Herbie.
Yep, thank you guys.
Well, I hope you're really enjoying the 23rd annual Carlisle Chrysler Nationals here on Classic Restos. Now, DVD boxed sets of the Classic Restos TV show, along with other Classic Restos merchandise, can be found at classicrestos.com.au. Of course, check out the major sponsors whilst you're there as well. Now, in 2014, if you're thinking about travelling to the gorgeous Pennsylvania area here in Carlisle and working it in conjunction with one of your favourite car shows, why not contemplate a Fletch tour? We're taking expressions of interest for 2014 right now. Send me an email via classicrestos.com.au. Still in Building T, the invitational display. I can't get out of here. Not that I want to. We got Mike now. How are you, Mike?
Oh, pretty good. How you doing?
I'm great, mate. Great. 66 Charger, hosting a 383. These 66 Chargers, now I love all the Chargers, don't get me wrong, but these 66s would have to go down, in my opinion, as the most luxurious.
Yes, they were basically sold as a luxurious sports car,
Funny enough though, Mike, whether it was the first shape of the Charger, I don't know, but the 66 here in America didn't really take off all that well, did it?
No, it didn't. It was sort of a flop. In fact, they carried the same body style over until 67, and they sold half as many 67s. And then in 68, when they basically redesigned the whole car, the market just took off with it because that was a more popular body style.
It was. I mean, the 68 shape Charger saved Dodge. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it was probably one of the sexiest styles they've ever come up with. But that aside, although they went to it, they had a beautiful interior as well. But in the 66, they just had buckets of chrome.
Correct. If they put chrome in it, if they wanted to put, basically jazz it up a lot, they filled it with chrome. You know, the full console is full chrome. The side of the console, around the window treatments, it's all chrome.
And I think too, the 66 Charger, one feature that stands out as well is that full-length console that runs from front straight through to the back.
Yep, and that along with the bucket seats, the 4 bucket seats, and of course the rear bucket seats fold down, and then the panel into the trunk folds down, so it's like an early hatchback, you know. And you can fit an 8-foot 2x4 in there, no problem, because I've done it and closed the trunk.
Oh wow! I thought for a sec you were going to say you could fit an 8-foot body in there.
Well, you could probably do that too, maybe 2.
Mike, I love this shape. It's almost rocket shape inspired. That line from the top of roof line down to the top of the taillights. I love that.
Exactly. They basically modeled it after the space era, because if you look at the sides of the car, it's sort of shaped like a rocket. And then you got your taillights that look like the engines from a spaceship or whatever. And you got your grille, which looks like it's an intake system for the same spaceship.
How does it drive? 383 up front. We've got a 4-speed manual. What's it like? It must be nice.
It's pretty peppy. The engine's been basically beefed up a little bit. It's got the 69 6-pack setup on it with a 383. And the gear ratio is still able to drive it. It's not a real deep gear where it's for drag racing and stuff, but it's peppy. It handles like a brick. The handling, it was basically designed to go in a straight line, and that's about it.
That's what the Americans did best. You built cars that were just beautiful and over the top. They just went into a straight line though, didn't they?
Yep. Correct. That is correct.
Good on you, Mike. Great talking with you, buddy.
Nice talking with you too, Fletch.
Whether you're at Ford, GM or Chrysler, here at Carlisle events, the Car Corral is something very special. It's an opportunity for private entrants to turn up, such as Reg here, to try and offload their car. How you doing, Reg?
Doing well, Fletch. How are you today?
Good, thank you. 68 Hemi Charger. What a beautiful car. Why are you selling it?
My daughter's getting married next year, so it's part of the fun for the family, if you will. But I also want to move on to my third project, which would be a 70 Roadrunner convertible. So I really enjoy the sport so much, the hobby, the friends you make, the favors you get to do along the way, and car's fresh. Just finished it, 307 miles on it. So while it's crisp, then we maybe can command a better price for it.
Reg, you've gone all out too. It's not a 426, it's a 528.
Correct. Yeah, we want to build a little bit of a stump puller, if you will.
Because a 426 isn't?
Well, it's, today's technology, there's ways to step it up a little bit. So.
I guess, too, if you're going to rebuild an engine, and if budget isn't a problem, it's more for fun, just go do it, right?
Well, budget's still there, but from that standpoint, yeah, my friends and I wanted to do something a little different, so we chose the 528 combination, as well as putting a 6-pack on a Hemi, which was a bit unusual.
Okay, before we talk about the 6-pack, what sort of power numbers has the engine spun up?
We dynoed twice, and at the hot engine break-in on the dyno, she was 643 horse at 6,100, produced 605 foot-pounds of torque, starting at about 44 up through 55, so great power band on the motor. And then once the car was assembled back together and whatnot, the chassis dyno yielded 512 horse at the rear wheels. So it's a fun one.
Gee, Reg, there's no catching you, is there?
Well, I don't know. It's don't want to go too quick. Need the girls to find me.
Interesting too, Reg, that you've gone with the 6-pack option, because 426 typical Hemis didn't come with 6-packs. Well, it's traditionally 1 or 2 4-barrels. How does the 6-pack work on the Hemi? Nice?
Absolutely fabulous. You're not typical combination you'd see on the motors today would be the dual 4-barrels. So you got a lot of fuel on board, and idling and just cruising, motors loaded up pretty heavy. With the 6-pack combination, the center carb 350 CFM, it's very friendly, very happy, idles nice, cruises nice, and then when you want to call for the increased power, you have twin 500 cubic feet per minute carburetors front and rear, so 1,000 CFM to add to the 350. So it really wakes the motor up.
That's what it takes to fuel the beast.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Reg, the interior is gorgeous, the red and black. There's something about a black car, especially. A lot of people. As a matter of fact, someone said to you, I think earlier, that they only buy red or black cars, right?
Correct. There's various combinations of it. I would comment that on the interior on this car, we did things a little bit differently as well. It's not a numbers matching car, so we took the liberties to increase, the eye catch, if you will. Stitching is absolutely correct. Legendary did the interior for me. We put black vinyl inserts in the center area, which would touch your back or legs, much cooler leather than it is the black vinyl, and then accented that with the subtle red stripe, the red to match the RT badges as well as the red Bumblebee.
It's been a pleasure to catch up with you, Reg. Thank you.
Fletch, absolutely a pleasure. Okay, thank you.
The last 6 weeks here at Carlisle, Pennsylvania has been amazing and eventful, all rolled into one. From some of the nicest motoring museums in the world through to your favourite car shows, the Carlisle region has it all. It is laced with history and style, encapsulated within a quaint township with just so much more to offer. If you would like to experience the Carlisle region, working in conjunction with your favourite brand of car show at Carlisle events, perhaps a Fletch tour in 2014 is exactly what you've been waiting for. We are taking expressions of interest now on email via classicrestos.com.au. Well, that's it for the 2013 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals, and you've seen it first on Classic Restos. It's also a big thank you to Carlisle Events for their hospitality during my stay, and the next Carlisle event that you'll see on Classic Restos will be the Corvette Nationals coming up fairly soon. Don't forget to classicrestos.com.au. That's the website that you need for the DVD boxed sets of the series and other Classic Restos merchandise as well. While you're there, check out the major sponsors and as to how they can help you. As I say at the end of every show, until next week, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like Classic Restos on Facebook. Facebook.com/Classic Restos TV. And episodes can be seen at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannon's Insurance and National Parts Depot.